here's the bike. So again, just spinning out a little bit because this thing has so much power. You almost, Christ, I just went 19 miles an hour at the flick of a wrist. This thing is probably 16% grade right here. All right, people. Some very exciting things happening today. Wow. That's all I can say. Like, my God. So many expletives I'm looking at, I feel like using right now, but I don't think I will. Few exciting things. One, I'm getting a new logo, people. Badass. It's like a caricature of me riding a bike. It's got a freaking dog chasing me. It's got a cactus. And then it says my name. So it's freaking badass. Some guy in Portugal is making it for me. He's already shown me a sketch and it's just badass. It's so freaking cool. So that is happening. Second, I got a new bike. I don't know if you can tell that I'm on new handlebars today. This bike is a freaking beast. It's a 7,000 watt rear hub motor with 10,000 watts of peak power. It has regenerative braking, which I'll talk about later. It's got like unbelievable shocks, like off the freaking charts shocks. And it's got pedals, but like a Sur-Ron with pedals or a Onyx, you're not really going to be using the pedals. It's more like for a glorified, if a cop comes by, you start pedaling kind of thing. That said, you can use the pedals. And it does propel the bike. It's got one gear, you know? I don't know if you can see the speedometer over here on my phone. It doesn't have a display. It's very minimalistic, this bike, so you kind of have to use your own phone. But it's got motorcycle tires and rims, motorcycle inner tube. So arguably, if I ride the way I've been riding my other bikes, I should have no problems. I'll show the bike to you in a minute. It's got 3-inch wide tires, and they're just freaking beefy, people. I mean, Jesus Christ. So anyway, this thing is a freaking beast. It's got a 72 volt, 30 amp hour battery. So that's 2,200 watt hours. To give you an idea, the Super 73R has 960 watt hours. And I can go like maybe 25 miles on that. And this has 2.4, 2.3 more times than that. So like they say, this thing can go 60, 70, 80 miles, throttle only, which I believe. So those are some things that are happening. Very, 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 very exciting. I'm getting ready to go to one of my favorite places to go for a little ride, and that's going to be very exciting. And I don't know. I've been waiting for about 2 months for this bike, and it's just off the chart. So for those that follow my channel, several months ago, a website called bicycleguider.com, and then also its sister one, ebicycles.com, they sent me a bunch of bicycles to review for their channel. I got a Himway Cruiser, and I got 4 rad power bikes, and I reviewed them, and then I was able to sell them. And by selling them all, I got about $6,500. So I told myself, and my wife agreed, that I should have the best freaking electric bike there is. Like, why not? I deserve it. So I took that money, I threw like 500 bucks more at it, and I bought this thing. This thing is $7,000, and I can tell you now, having ridden a Segway X160, which is like the smaller version of the Segway X260 or the smaller version of the Sur-Ron, having just ridden a Sur-Ron, and having ridden an Onyx RCR, this thing is just a different level. It's of the level of like a stealth bomber. Except, let me tell you, the guy who created this bike, created the company. Chris of Cab Motorworks, CAB, like the car Cab Motorworks. He created this ebike bike right here several years ago. He's an engineer from Lockheed Martin, and he created this to compete with the Stealth Bomber. And that being said, it's got a lot more torque. It's got a higher top end. It's a freaking beast. And he said even though the guy's a freaking engineer, like when he talks about these bikes, it's kind of like, what are you saying? It's just like so technical. The guy's a freaking genius. So he talks about the Stealth Bomber, and he says, yeah, I know it's got you know, a big motor. They claim to have a big battery, but this thing blows it away. And I was like, really? And he said, yeah. He said, I have a cooling system on this bike, so I can crank the wattage of the battery and the motor on this thing so high, and it won't burn out or you know fail. So that, you know, and then nobody else has a cooling system like I do, which means I'm able to run my motor and my battery higher than anybody. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he said, well, Cab Motorworks has this testing hill that they use that's 30% grade. So I went up at 19.2% grade in LA, and I can tell you 30% grade is pretty freaking insane. And he said from a dead stop at the bottom, they got a Stealth Bomber. And they tried to go up the hill and they couldn't make it up. Then they got on their Eagle before they, you know, tricked it out, let's say. And the Eagle went up at 5 times, and then it needed to cool down. So this is before they put the cooling system in it. And you know, the motor cut off because it was trying to preserve itself. It was just, it went up and down 5 times, and it just couldn't take it anymore. So they put the cooling system on it. They ramped up the horsepower even more, if you will. And he said this thing could go up and down it all day long now, and no problems. So you got a Stealth Bomber, which is 10,000 bucks, and it's kind of like set the standard for these, you know, off-road dirt bikes, and it can't go up it. And this thing can go up it all day long. So it's just very, very, very exciting. It has fully adjustable suspension. It has hydraulic disc brakes front and back. It's got a single gear. It's got a twist throttle, so like a motorcycle. And right over here on this left handlebar, or left hand grip, which is the rear, it's backwards, so the left is on the left. The back rear brake's on the left. If you just barely touch it, barely engage it, let's see if you can see it. If I engage it right there, the regen starts and the bike just almost like pulls itself to a stop. And what that means is, when it's doing that, it's doing 2 things. It's pulling itself to a stop, almost like if you're on a motorcycle and you're downshifting, like the bike, you know, pulls you forward. That's what this does when you use the regen. And secondly, it also over time can put 15% power back into the bike. So Chris said that when the bike is using regen, it basically turns itself into a generator, and it's generating power and it's putting it back into the battery. So the 50 to 80 miles that you can get on, you know, just standard throttle is without even using that regen. When you use the regen, you can get even more. So people that have ridden these, you know, modestly, not just gunned it everywhere, have gotten over 100 miles on this thing, one charge. So that just tells you how freaking insane it is. Now, just for the sake of kicks, in a second here, I want to see if you can see my throttle, my speedometer there. Right now it's showing 24. Ready? Watch this. Did you see that? I went to 52, but I stopped it. 52, and I stopped it. So it can go north of 50 miles an hour, people. I haven't really done the full thing yet, but I can tell you that the torque is like insane. I mean, it's like the bike is in its position, and then you hit the throttle, and the whole bike literally pops up. Like I literally just pulled a wheelie right there. Like granted, it was a half inch because I don't do wheelies, but I could pull a wheelie at any time. This thing has that much freaking torque. It's literally insane. So, and I'm literally, I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm pulling the handbrake maybe, honestly, like no joke, I'm pulling the rear brake 3 centimeters and it's stopping the bike because of the regen. So in a second here, we're gonna stop and I'm gonna show you the bike. And I'm gonna link to it. I've also worked out a deal. I know this is more expensive than the Sur-Ron, but it's 7,000 bucks, but it's more expensive than the Huck cycles. It's more expensive than the Sur-Ron, more expensive than the Segways. It's more expensive than the Onyx. But, again, having ridden a lot of those, I can tell you this is a different level, people. Just a different level. And the motorcycle components, and it's got this insane freaking seat that even makes the, it makes it even more comfortable. It's just unbelievable. So I gotta show you this bike. So let me put it over here. And we'll take a look. All right. All right. Let's take a look. No kickstand, needless to say. But here's the bike. It's literally insane. It's trying to see if the bike's in there. Yeah, there it is. Wait, let's see what's the bike in there. Okay. All right. So the bike looks like 26-inch by 3-inch tires. I'll have to check that out for sure. But they're motorcycle tires, people. I mean, this is some freaking beefy ass shit. You can't even push it in, you know what I mean? It's got a crazy ass 7,000 watt, 10,000 peak rear hub motor. It's got the full suspension, front and back. It's got this freaking amazing D&M shock forks. It's got this amazing D&M rear shock with adjustable dropout and it adjusts the amount of spring and the drop and the lockout, excuse me, not dropout. The seat is just like freaking cool even, look at this cushion, people, and it's got shocks underneath. It's just freaking insane, different level. And then 72 volt 30 amp hour battery. He said it's the biggest battery, the most power in the industry. And then here's your display, which is very minimalistic. It's got a key, but you just kind of look right there, and that's the display. It's got the battery, how many bars it has, and then the battery percentage and the volts that it uses. And that's it, people. And it's got these really wide handlebars, which I love. Tremendous stability. And then here are the hand brakes. That's rear, that's front. Twist throttle. And then again, he said if you look in there, there's a little silver thing. If you just barely touch it, like right there, like look how much I'm actually depressing this, people. 2 centimeters, it engages the regen and it puts power back into the battery. So just, I mean, we're talking different level, people, so I'm not trying to be that guy that disparages any other bikes, because I love all these bikes. I still love my Super 73. I still love my freaking Luna, which was 1,800 bucks, but this thing is just different level. And so I'm just really excited about it. This is the first it's ever touched dirt right here, and I'm just so excited. And the other exciting thing is, a couple weeks ago I did a Super 73 Super Squad ride in Calabasas, and that was really cool. And it made me realize what I guess a lot of people have realized a long time ago, that it's fun to ride with other people that have similar bikes. I use my Luna on that one, but I'm gonna go tomorrow to an LAE skate ride in LA. It's going from Hollywood Boulevard to what did it say? Griffith Park. And I'm really excited about that. And hopefully I see some of my friends, but really excited about that. And now we're in a freaking tunnel, people, and I can't see jack shit. Anyway, you can see my display really light up. That's kind of cool. And yeah, so I'm gonna take this because I watch those things. I watch them on other people's channels, and they haul ass. those freaking skateboards, those unicycles, people with their Surons and their Onyxes. I mean, people are going fast. So I couldn't even keep up on my freaking other bikes anyway, you know? And I'm waiting for my Super 73 to get fixed. But all in all, I mean, I couldn't keep up. So I was actually waiting to do one of those until I got this thing, you know? And now, I mean, again, I promise you people, I'm not trying to like boast, but, and it's not just my understanding, this is fact, because having ridden a lot of these bikes, I mean, this is the fastest bike. This is the most dirt capable bike out there, really. I mean, the guy built this bike to blow away the Stealth Bomber, and it does. Are you guys familiar with Jason Statham, the action star? He bought one of these, and he was seen out there riding. And hold on, I want to make sure I get this right. He was seen out there riding, and the media saw it and thought, anyway, that that's the bike that Simon Cowell got hurt on. And so they reported, you know, Jason Statham's riding a cool bike. For those that don't know, he's an action star, and he's riding a bike just like what Simon Cowell was riding, even though it's not the same bike. And Simon Cowell's bike is $25,000. It's called the Swind. Anyway, so they put a picture of Jason Statham on this bike, actually the sister bike to this one. It's called the Recon. Exact same bike, just faster, believe it or not. They reported that he was on one of these, and so this bike kind of went viral, and I didn't even know that. And yeah, Chris, the owner, said that it just, you know, their visibility and their sales just skyrocketed, and so their little shop in Huntington Beach, California, and they're just blowing the doors off it like everybody else. But I think they have a small team, so, you know, they work weekends. I mean, today's Saturday, and he freaking dropped it off today, my bike. He drove up here from Huntington Beach, which with traffic could be an hour and 20, you know, and then he was getting ready to go to Carson, California, to drop off another one. So cool people, cool bikes. Anyway, you can order it through their website, but it's probably best to just call Chris. If you go to their website and you look at their contact us, the phone number is Chris's. He's the CEO. And when you call him, you know, he'll answer any question you have. And that's how you order one. You literally give him your credit card over the phone. And so anyway, he said if you call him and use the code freaking Shredder, he'll give you multiple hundreds off. I asked him specifically, and he said, how's 300? I'm like, okay. So you got a little discount there. You get a cheaper bike than I got. And anyway, so that's just something to think about if you're, you know, ever interested in buying one of these. Clearly a lot of you are going to be interested in looking, so just check out their website. It's cabmotorworks.com, and you'll just see the Falcon, which I've actually test driven, which is smaller, and it has, you know, 75% less power, let's say, but it's the exact same looking bike. And then they have the Recon, which again is the bigger bike, which have even more power, which is crazy. And I've test driven all three, and now I have the middle one. And I'm gonna do videos on those other two, but you know, you'll see those bikes on the website. The Recon is 10,000, this one is 7,000, and the Falcon is in the 5,000 range. Might be 55, I can't remember, but it's 5,000 range. So anyway, so having ridden a bunch of different e-bikes, you know, fast dirt bike e-bikes, I've ridden 28 e-bikes now. So between that and I've owned 11 or 12, I keep forgetting, motorcycles, dirt bikes, street bikes, mini bikes, vintage bikes, you name it. Next to my Honda Nighthawk 750, which had a 750cc, that's pretty big, people. 750cc motor, and again, you know, it's gas. Next to that, this has the most torque and the most top-end speed and the most power of any of those 28 of those 39 vehicles. 28 electric bikes and 11 motorcycles. Like, really? So just, you can tell why I'm so freaking excited, people, you know? I'm not a Californian. I was born, I've lived in Kansas, I lived in Maryland, I lived in New Jersey. And I consider myself a Kansas boy. I went to University of Kansas. But if I was from California, I'd be using terms like rad and stoked, which I can't use because they make me cringe. But that's the only kind of words you could come up with for this kind of a bike. It's like, Jesus Christ. So anyway, we just went through a bunch of dirt that I've been on my other bikes, and I felt absolutely nothing. The shocks on this are literally insane. Somebody in one of the comments on the website said that you're literally floating, and I get it. You literally are floating. And now we're going to go down this massive switchback, which is one of my favorite things. I just did it the other day on my Luna 750 watt mid drive, and that was fun. But, you know, a little precarious. This, I'm just barely pulling. I'm slowing myself down right now, people, by pulling the regen brake 2 millimeters. Like, you understand what I'm saying? I'm barely even touching it. So he's like, you'll never wear out the pads, you know, the hydraulic disc brake pads, because you never use them, you know? And then, I mean, just the dirt capabilities of this thing, people. It's like, my God. If you've ever ridden a motorcycle, and many of you probably have not, I mean, this is what you're riding, you know? It's like, one of the bikes I had was and I'll put a link to it and I'll put a picture of it, was a Yamaha TW200. It was a 200cc dual sport, and it had this massive, like 12-inch wide tire on the back and massive tire on the front, and it was it was all kinds of torquey, and it was a freaking dirt bike, you know? And this thing is the closest thing to that I can think of. And honestly, for speed and torque, this thing blows it away. And I can tell you right now, for like grip and comfort, this thing beats it. Isn't that crazy? An e-bike beats a freaking very capable, very popular motorcycle, you know? So, but granted, that motorcycle goes for about $4,500 new, so $5,000 out the door. So yeah, it's a little cheaper than this still. So, and when you look at the Saran at like 4,100-ish, and you look at the Segway X260 at like 5,000-ish, and you look at the Huck Cycles, which are in the, hey, like the 5,000-ish range, you know, yeah, this thing is more expensive, I get that. But so is the Stealth Bomber, and people buy those all day long, and it's a very popular bike, and I'll put a link and a picture of that. And this thing just blows it away, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, and it's 3,000 cheaper than the Bomber. The guy literally had a Bomber in his facility, and he was doing everything he could to build a bike that's better. Like, that's how sure you are that it's better than the Bomber, you know? And so now we're gonna do a little bit of zip zooming here and just kind of see what it's like. I mean, this guy's telling me I can go up any hill I see, anyone. Pick any hill that I see and I can go up it, you know? And so I'm gonna put that to the test, people. I mean, there's a freaking 40% grade somewhere in LA. God dang it, I'm gonna find it, and I'm gonna go up it. And so we're on some like really mellow terrain here, and I'm literally coasting, people. I just have regular shorts on. I don't even have my padded shorts. And we're just living large, and it's not squirrely, you know, you don't lose traction, and it's crazy powerful. And the wide handlebars are awesome. You have a lot of stability. And in a lot of ways, it's a Cadillac. In a lot of ways, it's a Humvee. It's a Cadillac in that it's, you know, high-end, very high quality. And it's a Humvee in that it's just beefy off-road beast, you know? So, there you have it. So now we're gonna just ride. And so yeah, I'm really excited about my ride tomorrow. The LA East Skate. And you know, it's gonna take everything I've got not to just gun it when people are trying to fly by me, you know. But I don't want to be that guy that like thinks he's the coolest guy out there, you know. But I've got a pretty good bike. I mean, what are you gonna say, you know? Thank you. So the cool thing about this bike is it has, as you saw, a bike seat, and it kind of, except for the massive, you know, center console that has the battery and the controller, it looks like a bike, you know, and it's got the pedals. So the most important thing you can do, and I've kind of learned this from some of the Cab Motorworks videos, which they show you like somebody riding through a park on one of these, etc., is that when you come by people, slow down, and you know, pedal a little bit, you know. And that's kind of what I've been doing. And people are just, I'm not getting any looks other than wow. I'm getting a lot of wows, you know. So right now I'm going 9 miles an hour right by a couple of guys, and the guy just gives me a freaking, you know, a wave, you know. So you go 40, 50 miles an hour on this thing around town, around people, and they're gonna be like, what the hell is that? And you're gonna be calling the police on you. But you do what I'm saying and you're okay. Now Chris has been riding one of these for 5, 6, 7 years. He created the company and he has them and rides them. And he said in Huntington Beach, he's never been pulled over. The cops don't bother him at all because he does exactly that. But he's got, he said he rides this and he rides a Recon. He said he never rides the Falcon. It's just not fast enough for him. But for some people, it'd be plenty fast, you know? So let me put this into perspective a little bit for you. And I don't know, I'll have to ask him about the Stealth Bomber. But as far as the Sur-Ron, which very, 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 very popular electric dirt bike in this country. It's basically the same bike as the Segway X260. That bike has according to Chris, and he knows what he's talking about. He's researched every freaking stat. He said it has about 4 horsepower. And you know, that's the equivalent of 4 horses, like a chariot pulling the bike. That's how much power it has, torque and top end. And it has a 60-volt battery. Keep that in mind. This thing has, and granted, it has mid-drive. And he's like, you know, I'm giving a lot of props to mid-drives. They have a lot of torque. But he said he's made this thing even more torquey. This thing has 8 horsepower, double the horsepower, double the torque, double the power of a Sur-Ron. That just puts it in perspective for you. And what was I gonna say? I can't remember. Anyway, this also has an ASI controller with, I want to make sure I get this right, an ASI controller with 30 amp hours and 32 amp hour controller, BAC 4000. A lot of people will know what that means. That kind of gives you the power specs of this controller. And controllers mean a lot. I know people that have taken, you know, a BAC something, like 30 amp controller and put it on a Rad Runner, which is a little 500 watt, you know, slow grandma machine, and the thing hauls ass. So the controller has a lot to do with it. So this thing's got the battery, it's got the motor, and it's got the controller. So, oh, I know what I was gonna say. I asked Chris, because I'm a big fan, if you know my channel, big fan of the mid-drives. And I'm like, why didn't you put a mid-drive on it? And here's what he said. Again, engineer at Lockheed Martin, okay? He said, because I can't get enough torque out of it. And I was like, what are you talking about? He said, with the right hub motor and the right gearing, I can get more torque out of a rear hub than I can a mid-drive. And I'm like, really? And he said, absolutely. So he didn't put a mid-drive on it because it limited the amount of torque. You guys hear that? Like, really? So, I don't know, he keeps talking about, and again, the guy's been in this industry for 7 years, and he researches everything. He buys other bikes just to compare his against them. And he said next to the Recon, there is no bike faster, more powerful than this bike. It just doesn't exist in the market today. And he said it has the best motor, even though these other bikes claim to have like 15,000 watt motors and all this, and battery, and amp hours and all that. He said this just blows everything away. And I believe the guy. And so I'm pretty freaking excited to have it. I'm gonna be doing a bunch of reviews on it, a bunch of videos on it, and then I'm gonna be doing videos on, I already have the footage of the high-end Recon and the lower-end Falcon. And I'll be posting those. And, you know, I don't really encourage people to do anything. I'm not encouraging you to run out and buy one. I mean, it's up to you, you know. I'm just presenting the option. But I can tell you that I bought the bike. I did not, they're not paying me, you know. And again, the guy is just giving me a nice discount because I asked for one for my subscribers. So I'm not being paid to talk about this bike. So everything you hear about this bike from now on, and what I've said already, is just straight from me, you know? So there you have it, people. There you have it. That's what I wanted to tell you today. How exciting is that? Isn't that exciting? Are you excited for me? Because I'm freaking excited as hell. You know? I feel like I've got like a Ferrari and I'm riding in the streets and the speed limit's 45 and the bike and the car can go 200, but I'm only going 50 so I don't get pulled over, you know? That's kind of what I feel like, because I could just rip through here right now. Like, watch this. Oh my God. In an instant, I was like at 40 miles an hour. Like this thing, 0 to 30, I'm gonna say 3 seconds. It's hard to measure though, because to hit your phone, you know, stopwatch, you gotta take your hand off the throttle, so you almost need somebody to help you. But I can just tell you, looking at other bikes and their numbers, 3 seconds, you know? This is in the realm of the cake. I don't know if you've heard of the cake bikes. They're like $15,000. This is in that realm in terms of capabilities. So that's my big unveil, my big reveal. And I bought it 2 months ago and I've been just waiting to get this freaking thing. And now that it's here, I'm just like a kid in a freaking candy store. Now I gotta get my guys, my little super squad, Ventura County, Dylan, Tony, and what's his name? Nate. Dylan, Tony's a new guy. Get those guys and go for a ride, because you know, obviously I can hang in any capacity. They like going up big hills and really try to pedal their way up it, and on the Super 73s it's really hard to do that. I obviously can just go up it no problem, so I'm very excited about that. I told them about this bike and they were just kind of like, it wasn't even like the realm of possibility in their heads. They're like, oh, okay. So now when I show it to them, I think they're gonna be like, kind of like, wow. So dare I say, I'm actually gonna go out on a limb and say just too much power. Okay, watch this, people. This is probably a 14 to 16% grade and it's dirt. And we were basically at a dead stop at the bottom. Like I just hit the throttle and my wheel popped up. So this thing's still at this, oh my God, people are even seeing this. Jesus Christ. Like literally halfway up that 14% grade, it popped a little bit of a wheelie. So this thing really is just freaking off the chain. Fast as a blitzkrieg. The only problem you're gonna have in any capacity getting up anything is just traction, you know, and that's, again, it's got dirt tires from like a motorcycle, but even motorcycles spin out. So that's the only restriction you're gonna have, you know, that's it. So the other thing is I gotta get myself, right now I'm wearing a bicycle helmet. That's not gonna do it. If I do these kinds of rides, I gotta get a, one of those BMX helmets that has like a face, you know, shield. And then it's got like the whole eye and face part cut out, so you can put like goggles on. I'm gonna get one of those. And the only problem I see is that some of them have like an obstruction around your mouth, like, so make it hard to do videos and talk. So without the GoPro mod and a microphone, which I just don't feel like doing. A lot of people say that my audio comes out perfect like this, and I just use the GoPro Hero 9 and the chest mount, and that's it. I just talk. I think I just have a big voice, and it comes out perfect. So I don't want to change that. So I'm going to try to get one of those face masks that has like a hole cut out right around the mouth, so that it'll just, you know, not be much more muffled than it is right now, you know.